Ultamize. The law of attraction is now old enough to need an update. Now, that may sound strange, but the ideas behind it are much older than The Secret, positive thinking, visualization, mental rehearsal, faith in a better future. People have been talking about these things for thousands of years. But the modern law of attraction boom became a global phenomenon about 20 years ago. There was the book, the movie, all the interviews, the vision boards, the stories of people picturing checks, homes, relationships, business successes, and a completely different life. That message reached millions of people, and for a lot of people, it helped, gave them hope, got them thinking about possibility. It made them ask better questions about their future. That matters. But here's the problem. A lot of people heard the message, felt inspired, and then nothing much changed. They watched the movie, they bought the book, they highlighted the quotes, they maybe even put pictures on a board. And then their Tuesday looked exactly like Monday. Their daily habits didn't change. Their environment didn't change. Their calendar didn't change. Their phone still controlled their attention. Their old friends still reinforced the old same patterns. Their daily behaviors still pointed toward the same life. That's why information alone has never been enough. Not for the law of attraction, not for goal setting, not for health, not for money, not for relationships, not for anything that really matters, frankly. If information were enough, everyone who owns a cookbook would be thin, beautiful, and eating beautifully arranged vegetables under perfect lighting. If information were enough, everyone with a personal finance book would be rich. If information were enough, everyone who watched a motivational video would immediately become organized, focused, disciplined, and impossible to stop. That's not how human beings work. We don't change because we heard one good idea one time. We change because something gets repeated often enough, emotionally enough, and practically enough that it starts becoming part of how we operate. That's not weakness, it's just behavior. Think about your car. The seatbelt alert doesn't say, "Excuse me, we already mentioned seatbelts once in the owner's manual, so we'll never bring it up again." No, it dings and dings and dings. It's annoying, it's repetitive, it's not intellectually elegant, but guess what? It works because eventually most people put on the seatbelt automatically because of those instant daily reminders. That's behavior architecture. It's the design of repeated cues that make the better action easier to perform. And once you start seeing behavior architecture, you see it everywhere. Netflix doesn't just hope you remember to watch another episode, it autoplays. Amazon doesn't just hope you remember to buy something later, it recommends what you should buy. Your phone doesn't politely trust you to check it once a day. Oh no. It buzzes, flashes, lights up, and taps you on the brain every few minutes like a tiny, needy salesperson living in your pocket. Advertisers don't show you one message and say, "Well, we did our best." No, no. They repeat. They repeat for years. Same brand, same colors, same promise, same emotional hook, same messages. Why? Because repetition works. The uncomfortable truth is that most of your behavior is already being shaped by repeated messages. The only question is whether those messages are designed by you or designed by someone trying to sell you fries or streaming or outrage or sports bets or another object that will sit in your closet until your next decluttering crisis. And yeah, I say that as someone who's occasionally bought things online with the confidence of a visionary and the judgment of a raccoon in a jewelry store. We all get shaped. The question is, who's doing the shaping? That's why the law of attraction needs a modern update. 20 years ago, the big challenge was getting people to believe their thoughts mattered. Today, the bigger challenge is protecting your attention long enough to even have your own thoughts. That's different. That's a huge change. You're not trying to visualize a better future. You're trying to visualize a better future while trillion-dollar companies are using brilliant engineers, psychologists, designers, and algorithms to pull your attention back to their vision of your future. Their future for you is simple: scroll more, watch more, click more, buy more, react more, stay on the site longer, stay on the app longer, come back sooner. Your future has to compete with that. That's why a single inspirational moment won't do it. You need reinforcement. You need reminders. You need your own repeated messages. You need a structure that pulls you back toward the life you're trying to build. That's why certain ideas here will come back again, not because you didn't understand them the first time. You probably did. You're smart. You get it. The reason they come back is because understanding isn't the finish line. Repetition is what turns understanding into behavior. A reset is not a filler. A reset is a seatbelt ding for your future. It brings you back to the reason you started. It interrupts the drift. It says, hold on, don't slide back into the old pattern just because life got noisy again. That's the real work. And this is where the law of attraction becomes more than a nice idea. It becomes a daily operating system. You clarify what you want. You repeat it. You connect it to the behavior. You shape your environment. You choose better inputs. You spend more time with people who reinforce the future you want. You create cues that make the right action easier, not once, but repeatedly. That's the modern version, not just visualization and hope, but visualize, reinforce, act, reset, repeat. Now, it's not as glamorous as imagining a check arriving in the mail. It's much more useful because your life is not changed by the idea you admire once. Your life is changed by the message you hear often enough to act on. So let's use the strongest part of the law of attraction. Let's keep the vision. Let's keep the future focus. Let's keep the belief that your life can become more intentional than it is right now. But let's add the missing piece. Let's build the reinforcement system that makes the vision harder to forget and easier to live. Because the future you want doesn't just need inspiration. It needs reminders, structures, repetition, and it needs you coming back to it long after the first burst of excitement fades.